Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video we continue the complex analysis. Okay, first definition, analytic functions. So definition of this one is: a function f of z of a complex variable is said to be analytic at a point z0 if it is differentiable at z0 and also at every point of some neighborhood of z0. So that means any function f of z is said to be that is analytic if it is differentiable. Okay, so it is differentiable at z0 and also its neighborhood of z0, that is all points of neighborhood of z0. Okay, then we say that this f of z is analytic at z0. But while solving the problems we don't use this definition. Okay, so directly here we prove a theorem, so which is a necessary and sufficient condition that f of z to be analytic. Okay, and by this definition here we have two results. First one is sum and product of two analytic functions in a domain D are also analytic in domain D. So that is sum and product of two analytic functions. If you consider two analytic functions, their sum and product also analytic in the same domain D. Second one, the quotient of two analytic functions in a domain D is also analytic in D, provided that the denominator function does not vanish at any point in D. Okay, so that means the quotient of two analytic function is also analytic, but the denominator should not vanish at point D. Now we have a necessary and sufficient condition, but we prove the only necessary condition. Okay, first we prove necessary condition. Necessary and sufficient conditions for f of z to be analytic. So in this we prove necessary part separately and sufficient part separately. Okay, so that is first we prove necessary condition. So this necessary condition, even its statement and proof both are important for your exams for 6 marks. So it is very important, right? Statement, a necessary condition that f of z is equals to u of x comma y plus iv of x comma y be analytic in a domain D is that the first order derivative of u and v with respect to x and y must exist and must satisfy the equations must satisfy the equations dou u by dou x is equals to dou v by dou y, and dou u by dou y is equals to minus dou v by dou x. So see here, the necessary condition is that f of z is equals to u of x comma y plus iv comma x comma y be analytic in domain D is that the first order derivative of u and v with respect to x and y must exist. That is, the partial derivative of u and v with respect to x and y must exist, and they must satisfy the equations dou u by dou x is equals to dou v by dou y, and dou u by dou y is equals to minus dou v by dou x. That is, partial derivative of u with respect to x is equals to partial derivative of v with respect to y, and partial derivative of u with respect to y is equals to minus partial derivative of v with respect to x. Okay, so if the given function satisfies this condition, then we can say that the given function is analytic. Okay, so this is the necessary part, that is necessary condition of that f of z to be analytic. Okay, now we prove this one. Proof: let f of z is analytic in a domain D. So this is by the given. Okay, so we know that by the definition of analytic functions here, by the definition, any function is said to be analytic if it is differentiable. Okay, so that is, we can say that thus f of z has a derivative and it is unique. Okay, we know that derivative of any function is unique. Okay, so first we read the derivative of this f of z. F of z has derivative and is given by f dash of z is equals to limit delta z tends to 0 f of z plus delta z minus f of z divided by delta z. So this is by the differentiation of, that is derivative of a complex variable, that is definition of the derivative of a complex variable. Okay, now that is the right hand limit RHS limit is unique. Okay, we know that this must be unique irrespective of path in which delta z tends to 0. Okay, now so f of z is a complex function, that is complex function, therefore it is given by f of z is equals to, so in the necessary condition only it is represented, since it is a complex variable. Okay, so therefore it is denoted by u of x comma y plus iv of x comma y. So okay, a complex function is written by f of z is equals to u of x comma y plus iv of x comma y. So this is a complex function. Now if I add this z to delta z, that is there is a small change in z, so when there is a small change in z, then definitely there will be a small changes in x and y, that is here we get x plus delta x comma y plus delta x plus iv of again x plus delta x comma y plus delta y. Okay, so then also delta z is equals to delta x plus I delta y, since z is equals to x plus iy, So therefore delta z is equals to delta x plus I delta y. Therefore this f dash of z can be written as this one, okay, can be written as f dash of z is equals to, so in the place of f of z plus delta z, sorry this one, z plus delta z, we apply this, that is we add this term, and in the place of f of z we add this one, okay. So therefore it can be written as limit delta z tends to 0 u of x plus delta x comma y plus delta y plus I v of x plus delta x comma y plus delta y minus, in the place of f of z we write u of x comma y plus I v of x comma y. Now denominator is equals to delta x plus I delta y, okay, which is equals to, or now we take, that is let delta z is, that is delta z be purely real, it implies that its imaginary part is 0, that is delta z imaginary part is delta y is equals to 0, okay. So we get delta y is equals to 0, then this delta z becomes only delta x. Therefore this f dash of z becomes limit, in the place of delta z we get delta x tends to 0. So wherever we have delta x delta y part we put that is equals to 0, okay. So that is u of x plus delta x as it is comma y plus again I v of x plus delta x comma y, and then this u of x comma y plus I v of x comma y we keep as it is, whole divided by delta x only, because we have delta y is equals to 0. Then this can be further written as limit delta x tends to 0. We write all the u terms one side, that is u of x plus delta x comma y minus u of x comma y, and we take separate limit for u terms and v terms, so that is divided by delta x, okay, minus, in this v part we can take I common, okay. So that is, sorry, it is plus limit delta x tends to 0, we take I common from this one, we get v of x plus delta x comma y minus again v of x comma y divided by again we write delta x, okay. Now this is equals to, you can observe that this is the partial derivative of u with respect to x. So here we have u term, so only x term is changing but y is constant, okay. In the denominator also we have delta x. So similarly this is the partial derivative of v with respect to x, because x term is changing but y is constant. So therefore by the definition of partial derivative this can be replaced by dou u by dou x, that is partial derivative of u with respect to x, plus I, this is the partial derivative of v with respect to x. So f dash of z can be written as dou u by dou x plus I dou u by, that is dou v by dou x. Consider this as equation 1. Now we shall assume that delta z is purely imaginary, okay. Purely imaginary means its real part is 0. So here we have delta z, it is purely imaginary means only we have this part, this delta x becomes 0, okay. So purely imaginary, it implies that delta x is equals to 0 and delta z becomes only I delta y. Now again this f dash of z, can be written as delta x becomes 0. We only write this y plus delta y. Okay. So see here, f dash of z becomes limit delta z tends to, this delta x becomes now I delta y, no? So it becomes delta y tends to 0. You can write I delta y tends to 0 or simply delta y tends to 0, because, so see here, if you write I delta y tends to 0, then you can write it as delta y tends to 0, because sending I this side you will get 0 only. Okay. So therefore we write delta y tends to 0. Then it becomes u of x, delta x, now x terms becomes, that is delta x terms becomes 0. So therefore we write only x term comma y plus delta y plus iv of x comma y plus delta y. Okay. Minus u of x comma y plus iv of this x comma y as it is. Okay. Whole divided by delta x. Again we group all the u terms one side and v terms one side. We get limit, here we get delta y. This is I delta y, because delta z becomes this, delta x plus I delta y becomes only I delta y. So therefore in the denominator we get I delta y. Now limit delta y tends to 0, grouping all the u terms one side, we get u of x comma y plus delta y minus u of x comma y. Denominator I delta y as it is. Okay. Minus, plus, again we take another limit for, that is we split this limit into two limits. Okay. And we can take I common from these two terms, I into v of x comma y plus delta y minus I taken outside v of x comma y, whole divided by this I delta y. In this term we can cancel I term, but here we get 1 by I as it is. Okay. So therefore it can be written as 1 by I we take outside, limit of delta y tends to 0. It is u of x comma, y plus delta y minus u of x comma y, whole divided by delta y, plus limit delta y tends to 0, v of x comma y plus delta y minus v of x comma y divided by delta y. Now again by the partial derivative definitions. So this is the partial derivative of u with respect to y. So you can observe that x is constant, only y is changing. So one variable kept constant and another is goes on changing, then we called it as a partial derivative. So here also x is constant, only y term is changing with respect to y. So therefore we can write it as, also by the complex numbers we have 1 by I is equals to, it is minus I. So this is a partial derivative of u with respect to y, and it is denoted by dou u by dou y, plus it is partial derivative of v with respect to y, therefore it is dou u dou v by dou y. Okay. And since we know that 1 by I is equals to minus I, so this is f dash of z again. Consider this as equation 2. Now you can observe that equation 1 and 2, this equation 1 and 2, LHS part is same, therefore we can take RHS parts are equal. Since f of z is unique, we can say that RHS side of of equation 1 and 2 are equal. So that is equating those we get dou u by dou x plus I dou v by dou x is equals to minus I dou u by dou y plus dou v by it is dou u by dou y. Okay, so now real part of this one is dou u by dou x and real part is this one. This is the imaginary part and this one is the imaginary part. Now equating real and imaginary part, we get dou u by dou x is equals to dou v by dou y, and only we equate imaginary part, that is dou v by dou x is equals to, we get minus dou u by dou y. So these are the necessary condition for f of x to be analytic. Okay, hence the theorem. Or hence we can write it as dou u by dou x equals to dou v by dou y, and dou u by dou y is equals to minus dou v by dou x. We can write in both form. Okay, and these are called as the CR equations. First we complete this proof, hence the proof. Okay, so this completes this necessary condition of f of z to be analytic. Okay, now we have a definition here, definition for CR equations. So here we have proved these two equations, and these two equations are called as the Cauchy-Riemann equation or CR equations. Okay, so we have definition for CR equations. CR equation, or it is also called as Cauchy-Riemann equations. So very simple. The equations dou u by dou x equals to dou v by dou y, and dou u by dou y is equals to minus dou v by dou x are called Cauchy-Riemann equations, or these are known as CR equations also. Okay, so this is the definition for CR equations. So from this we can one thing conclude that if f of z is analytic, right, if any function is analytic, then we can say that that function satisfies CR equations. Okay, implies that dou u by dou x equals to dou v by dou y, and dou u by dou y is equals to minus dou v by dou x. So since it is the necessary conditions, so we can say that if CR equations are satisfied, so that is CR equations need not imply that f of z is analytic. So that is, so since this is the only necessary condition, we can say that any analytic function satisfies the CR equation. But any equation satisfying the CR equation, that need not to be analytic. Okay, so here we have sufficient condition, only we take statements. That is the sufficient condition for the function f of z equals to u plus iv to be analytic at any point in domain R. First one is u and v and their partial derivatives. So that is u, v and their partial derivatives dou u by dou x, dou u by dou y, dou v by dou x and dou v by dou y are continuous at that point. Okay, the first condition is u and v and their partial derivatives must be continuous at that point, and second one is Cauchy-Riemann equations are satisfied at that point. Then only we can say that the given function is analytic. Okay.